And there's the record. There's the record. Hey, hey, welcome to the Hired AV podcast. My name is Joe A. I am your host, and we are live day 4, the day where everything is a blur of ISE 2023. Two VIP guests. I don't care how tired I am. I cannot, not be excited about the guests on right now. We're going to talk a little bit post, I don't want to say post ISE, but end ISE, feeling, seeing what you're hearing from our people. So first, to introduce yourself, Brad, tell people who you are. I mean, they had our webinar, so they kind of know who you are. But please tell people who you are and what you do.
I'm Brad Hinsey. I'm EVP Global Marketing at Crestron.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Mikelis, please tell people who you are, what you do.
Hi, my name is Mikelis. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Catchbox.
Great. So we have, everybody, of course, knows Crestron and Catchbox. Again, two products that probably every higher ed institution needs in order to make themselves successful. So I'm going to start, Brad, with you. Tell us, now that you've had 3 days worth of booth tours, people are stopping by your mega city that you set up over there. What are the higher ed people telling you? Is there anything that's sticking out to them? What are the conversations your guys are telling you?
So we have had an incredible show, and it's been so exciting to meet with so many customers and with partners. One of the things that we did differently this time is to really focus on applications, bring those to life, and the variety of applications that all organizations need. But one of the most popular corners of the booth is the education-centric corner that really shows the flexibility of that high-flex classroom, the ability to change it up as you need. And a lot of people spend so much time in there digging in, particularly around how do you enable it with, say, a Zoom room, and then also NVX software that is just new and just released. So that has been a real highlight of the booth, I think. Sightline is important, but I think there, we didn't anticipate how much attention that corner would get.
Yeah, no, I'm going to totally agree with you. And I loved how what you guys took time to do was show us, different than sometimes where you didn't just throw a bunch of NVXs on a wall and said, here's a flashing light, and said, here's how we can show you how the solution works, right? And what you can do with the product. Yep. I loved that approach. And yes, the software, I think, is going to be the big hit, right? I mean, that really changes a lot of things. For those of you who haven't seen, we did do a booth tour over there. We got a chance to show it, show some multi-view things, some multi-stream stuff. So check that. We won't get into that right now. And for Catchbox, what are the higher ed customers saying to you?
Right. Well, first of all, of course, higher ed is one of the very crystal clear verticals for Catchbox, where it finds its solution application very strongly, and that's why we see a lot of traffic and interest in there. And I think at this point, it's just amazing to see this influx of people finally, finding their way to meet personally and see these solutions, applications, and products. And for us, I think at this point, this year, we're kind of launching more under the hood developments and accessory products and things like that. So we're presenting the solution as a whole. We have several charging, accessories for a product and things like that, and it's more kind of what we show. But the support and general idea of and trying from the interest from people to try to understand how they holistically put it in their solution or product as a system. That's what we've been discussing mostly.
Yeah, and I was impressed by that when I was over by the booth. And, well, by the way, there's a great story while I'm over there and someone walks up saying, Joe Wade needs to know about this. And he turns around and points to me. I mean, what are the odds that we're in a happy hour and I'm standing there, totally random for some guys. Anyway, that was funny. But, can you speak to because you made some adaptations to the fibers and all that to make them sanitary and everything, because I know a lot of people that was a concern during a pandemic. What are you going to do with a throwable mic? So talk a little bit about that and those changes, because I think that's really what our vertical needs to go. We love the product, but what are faculty going to say? So talk a little bit about that.
Right, yeah, we do have, since the pandemic, obviously induced some changes in the world, how it operates, and it's a very big attention to hygiene and then surfaces. So all our products, fabric parts come coated with this coating called Viral Off, which basically kills, it's provably scientifically tested kills the viruses after when they're ever there on the surface.
Yeah, see, and I think that's important because we have to be, I think, as a vertical, more conscious about our choices now. And I think that that's something that I saw tech managers now making those wiser decisions, because pre-pandemic, and I know people, I have to insult my vertical a little bit. A lot of times there was just, I don't want to say, we don't care, because they do care, but a different attitude. But now we're much more conscious, socially conscious, financially conscious, right? And that's really changed. So Brad, can you speak to, again, when our vertical is showing up, I see huge opportunities with the NVX software.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how would that fit for somebody in their classrooms? Like, why would you want to move away from there's comfort in a little black box with blinky lights, right? So
Sure.
moving into the future now.
Right.
Like, talk a little bit about to that.
Well, I think that the software version of NVX isn't actually a replacement for a black box. In some cases it can be, but it's really intended to provide you more flexibility. If you already have a PC that has a lot of your content on it, why must you insert a black box between that and then the other receiver on the other end? So giving you the choice for how you want to deploy that technology, I think, is really the power of the software. So it fits into the larger NVX ecosystem. If you already have a bunch of NVX deployed across campus, you can take and add this software version for any other new projects without ripping out any of the other infrastructure that you have too. So I think that's the big news here, is the continued expansion of NVX and the ways that you can deploy it and install it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that was, if I'm going to put a common theme, which is between even both of your companies that are two very different companies, is exactly kind of what you just said, right? That there's, making the options, taking the friction and and adding flexibility to how we need our spaces. Because I think that was also, again, the pandemic changed. Straight classroom, talking head in the front of the room is not the case anymore, right? We saw a lot of change and a lot of flip and all of that. And I think that that's what makes, your guys' offerings really kind of fit that. So I want to, now let's talk about kind of audience interaction between two different ways. You do have Sightline. So I'm going to start with you, Brad, talk a little bit about what that is.
So Sightline for us is a hybrid. It's an experience that you can create to really enable highly equitable hybrid meetings. And one of the things that we found actually is that the remote attendee experience gets a lot of attention, but you can't neglect what is the experience in the room. How can you enable natural conversations between in-room participants that is including also the remote participant? And so what happens is when you're in a room, you want to look at the person you're speaking to. But if you're looking at only the people in the room, then you forget about remote attendees. So how can you keep all of that in mind and enable better collaboration and better flow? So that's how we came up with this experience that we created, multi-camera experience, displays around the room, and then see how you can optimize and create the best experience for both ends. And so it's been a really interesting journey, and much of this actually came about for us as we were moving back into the office too. We experienced this ourselves, and so that's how we arrived at this as a really great solution.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's an amazing little room you have in there. Now, Mikelis, same idea. Talk about how your products have adapted, and for those of us who now have to focus on hybrid learning, how do we fit that into our space to do the same thing to make an inclusive experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this has been like naturally a direction of our product, actually making it more equitable, I would say, because it's kind of offering everyone an equal chance to participate. That's kind of where it's in the very nature of the product. But we've been indeed focusing quite a lot on realizing that they're actually, in these days, when you have the hybrid, you have the foreign participants and so to say presence participants, and they are both very equally. Both experiences are very important, right? You can't just somehow, because of technology or something, undermine or just You need to follow both of them, and what we do is like we have basically these two very distinct roles. If you look at a product, basically we offer two specific microphone types, right, and they kind of define the role. So of a tutor, of a speaker, or a lecturer, and then the audience, right, and but the audience is whoever, right, is being thrown at.
And I think that was really the thing, is a lot of us, especially, guilty one here too, myself, is you sit there and go, okay, we have to mic our room. So you throw one ceiling mic in the middle of the room, and and then you have to figure out now you can't pick up everything, so you don't want to pick up the chips in the bag, that someone's doing, but you want to make sure you pick up the faculty members. So being able to kind of figure out, that common thing of the equity among all participants, right? And I think that's really where there's value in adding that product into the line in the workflow. So we kind of just talked about the big product launches, I don't know if a better word, or developments, for you all. But we're at ISE. Can I get, and Mikelis, I'll start with you on this one, your overall impression of the show this year? Like, talk a little bit about that. What is your general impression, especially over last year in May, where I don't know, right?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Yeah, me being a product guy, I'm just developing products, and I still being an engineer, so I always look at the products, but at the same time trying to decipher also like where's the actual value. I think like in yesterday's keynote, was it like to really distinguish the innovation from a novelty, right? I think it's a big theme, right? So you always need to look further down, like what will actually survive the test of time. Right, so I've been really impressed, especially like in the education area where we're kind of residing, of the new physical product ideas that's been brought to the booths by the vendors and participants. Yeah. Same question. I definitely agree. Brad, same question to you. Thoughts on ISE this year?
It has totally exceeded all expectations. We were here last year, obviously. We brought fewer people. We had really great traffic last year. But you could still tell there was some tentativeness to what would happen. But then to come here, see the number of people that showed up, especially at the last minute, the way the registrations have ramped from the show, to see people, the lines outside just to get in, it's just phenomenal. But the energy too, it really feels like our industry is poised for this great growth opportunity. We've navigated this pandemic that we're now on the other side of. People have uncovered opportunities there, but there's so much optimism about the next 3 years as people do transition and continue to evolve the way they use technology to enable their work and enable collaboration. And you can certainly feel that energy here at the show. Our booth has been packed elbow to elbow the whole time, and I think that really comes out.
Yeah, I can really just agree to that, the energy and the optimism. And I think that on top of that, there's also this direction that I think this hybrid work or education is there. That's the direction, and is there to stay, and people are, and vendors and participants can be confident that, this is what we need to look for, this is what we need to work for.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it seems like every time I see someone, especially now on day 4, I don't know how many times I've been asked, how's the show going for you? Is there anything that stuck out to you, all this stuff? And, obviously a lot of stuff I kind of see ahead of time. I might have a number of NDAs, the number of companies, so the product launched isn't always the wow thing. It's just kind of neat to actually see it in person, right? But to me, it was the right word. It's the energy and the vibe, right? It's the not just the fact that there's going to be 60 and some thousand people, right? Which is great in itself.
More than that, but yes.
And you realize they're still missing 20,000 people from China.
Yeah.
Like there's a major cross section that just isn't even back yet, right? But really to go through and just see to see the other areas that would normally be empty totally full. People walking around, watching them move through the halls. People who get a chance to come to Barcelona know the way this conference center is set up. It's one long hallway with a lot of branches off of it, right? So you kind of saw this pack moving each day, right? And that to me was what was really exciting, is just seeing people interested in the technology again. because I think there was a big turn off during the pandemic of, what are things going to look like? Or maybe it was just an uncertainty.
I think it was definitely just the uncertainty. What are we going to do? How are we going to respond to this? We'll try this or that. And now it certainly feels like it's all, let's go. We don't have all the answers, but we know we need to do something. So let's go start here and then iterate on that. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah. And on that, which is interesting because not even just your companies. Let's take everyone who's here. During the pandemic, you would always hear people go, "Well, why are people working on research and developing new product and you can't even deliver what you got?" Right? I mean, like you would hear that stuff, right? And you'd hear it. We have a global supply chain issue. Why would you keep doing it? Well, the thing is you have to keep innovating, and both of your companies have done that over a time where we all kind of took our 2 years off for COVID, right? But I could actually say that for almost every company on the floor. We spent that time in research and development and said, yeah, okay, you're not buying that, but we have something brand new for you to buy, right? And I think that really is what's exciting to me. So now I'll go back. Is there something where, let's talk about like the direction. Where do you actually see the technologies overall? If you just take the show in itself, where are we moving as an industry? Brad, I'll give you that one first.
As an industry, I think it's clear, right? We are expanding the number of technologies that get incorporated with what we're deploying, right? Where it used to be, at least for us, control, and then AV and control, and now you see video conferencing. It's all just expected to work and combine together. And so I think that we will continue as an industry to find the best way to use technology to create great experiences in the classroom for those that are outside of the classroom. So I think that, in many ways, we'll just continue to bring in new ideas, to evolve, to innovate, and to bring, all of those things together. Yeah. Where we used to, kind of focus on a core, right? You had to have AV. It was great. Video was great. Content was great. And now you have to have video cameras and in really engaging ways. So that will, I think, continue to be an important part of our industry evolution.
Yeah, no, totally agree with that. Same question to you, Mikelis.
Yeah, I can actually, just then build on that, because I think definitely I see that the technologies are just convoluting and converging into unbelievable amount of permutations and combinations that create something new. And basically, what do I mean with that is we see that, university, let's say, lecture hall becomes like a production studio, right? So suddenly there's broadcast and suddenly there's this and that that needs to come together to create that experience, that solution. And you know what, what's actually going to govern that or kind of create that is these new use cases. Something, hey, we need to do it this way, right? It's not that we need to combine video with control or whatever.
not because we can, it's because to solve a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And people right here, this is the place where it's kind of the pot where these kind of things happen, where people all right, this is how we can do it. Oh, and there's a guy there, and there's a booth there, and there I saw that place there. So this is how we can combine these together, right? Because in some people's innovators' minds, these people, things are boiling, right, all the time. How do we solve that? How do we solve that? And kind of come here and oh, yeah, this is how we solve that.
I think that actually, along those lines, that's why this moment there is so much energy. We in this industry love to solve problems, and we have new problems. There's a new set of challenges that all organizations are facing as you come out of the pandemic. Organizations have different kinds of goals, for education. How do we get people on campus again, right? That level of engagement. But how do we do that also without excluding those that can't? Yeah. Right? So those are brand new challenges that we as an industry can help jump in and solve. Yeah. And so it's really exciting to be in this moment where everybody has these things and they're really eager to solve them, and we have the tools.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And what's interesting is if you think about pre-pandemic, especially in our roles in higher ed, it was really hard to tell your mother what you did for a living,
right?
Yeah. And now you're I'm the one that makes sure everyone's Zoom works. Oh, now I get what you get. But and it's funny is because you can talk to our grandparents and they'll talk about people now expect equality, a certain level of I gotta see, I gotta hear. And again, going back to how about a buzzword of digital equity, right? That becomes important. And we've started to know that, like we just said, a standard room is now a broadcast studio.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe not with a full production team, but now we want our technologies to do that for us.
Right, exactly.
Right. And then we have to take that in scale, nonetheless. So, and that really is kind of been the big change in what we as our vertical has kind of had to do. And I do think, in answering my own question of what here at the show, I've seen a lot of companies do that, right? I've seen, interestingly, almost every one of the brands has an education wall or something, right? But you didn't see that always 4 years ago.
Right. Yep.
And now you're seeing everyone do it, which, and I don't know what it is, maybe people now understand it, the pandemic changed things, but it was kind of interesting to see, and that being one of my takeaways. Again, I'm sitting here with two people who've always been attention to the education vertical, so it's everybody else catching up to you all.
Yes, sure, yep.
But it's still there. All right, another ISE question. Red sangria, white sangria, or cava? Which one is your favorite?
Oh my gosh. I've heard that the locals make fun of us when we drink the sangria and say you're just a tourist. I'm kidding. I still love it. But no, I generally will go with cava.
All right, okay. Yourself?
I like cava, but I'm so intrigued by this white sangria story that I think that tonight is the night.
All right. Yeah. I will go. I swap back and forth. I start with the red. The red sangria is my go-to, and then I somehow end up at cava. White sangria with cava. No, that's an interesting one.
It is. Yep.
But I'm not a white wine drinker. All right. Okay. Now tell me your favorite part of Barcelona. Now this is our second year here in Barcelona. What are your favorite things about the city?
Oh, this city is so much fun. I love the architecture. I love just the culture. But last year we went to Sagrada Familia and walked in, and it was just breathtaking, so mind-blowing. So just feeling a part of the city and going and experiencing all of the individual elements. You'll find a little restaurant that looks like a hole in the wall, and it's the most spectacular food. Those are the elements that I love about being here in Barcelona.
Yeah. We figured out that if you're walking La Rambla and they're begging you to come get food, don't stop there.
No,
you just find some random place where there's kind of a line out the door. Not everyone fits inside. And you're like, okay, that's where I'm eating. That's where I'm eating.
Yep.
About your favorite part of Barcelona?
Yeah, same. I think it's like about a quarter and just left and right La Rambla. And somehow, like last year and this year, we really accidentally, like stumbled upon the same cocktail bar, just like a tiny place, like somewhere downstairs and wherever. And but yeah, somehow we ended up exactly right there 2 years in a row. So
yeah, hey, that's good. That's what I say. It's fun. Go into the Gothic Quarter and just get lost.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yep.
That is
exactly.
That's the best part of it.
Yep.
And this venue is amazing too. So I have to say great things with moving forward. And then speaking of moving forward, and Mikelis, I'll start with you. What's next for you all? Okay, you showed some stuff here. What's the next development in the product that we should be looking at down the line? You can break all NDAs right now. No one is listening. Don't worry.
Take the bait. Don't take the bait.
Well, I think like propelled by this energy that we're actually getting here, and also from our higher ed customers and visitors, it's definitely like expanding the product line into something more systemic.
Yep.
Into something of more of a bigger solution. So a lot of ideas, still too many idea level things, but that's the direction. More products and more systemic products.
I love it. And for Crestron?
So we have a lot of really great, exciting things cooking, but we don't like to talk about them now.
But I have to ask.
I know you have to ask, but no, we have actually taken the position over the last little while that we want to talk about things when they're available to. It doesn't do anyone good to talk about all these futures that may or may not ever materialize. They're fun to experiment, right? We need to have those kinds of conversations, but we're trying to focus on let's get stuff ready and let's get it out the door. But we have some really exciting things to talk about. In May, we have a big event masters, and one called Modern Work Summit, which you participated in last year. You're coming again, and we've got a couple things up our sleeve for that event.
All right, looking forward to that. Looking forward for both of you all and the companies down the line. And actually, I'll go off of that. That is interesting. We used to always make fun of vaporware, especially at shows, and go, here's the wall of stuff that really is never going to go. If I just look at the show overall, you don't see that anymore. How many times people go, even if they say this is a product in development, you will still hear them follow up with, but it'll be out by May. It'll be out by August. It's on, you know what I mean? Start planning it here. We can get you a demo in, 30 days. That's different than, just, oh, here's the future of whatever.
Right.
And I think you're seeing that across the show. Do you think that's maturity in our industry, or did the pandemic cause that? What does that change? I'm just curious. Throw that to either.
I think I've seen still plenty of vaporware from some of our competitors, but I think that there is a maturation that's happening because the thing is, many people rely on our technology to get their job done, and so our customers, they want what's real. And so they want to be sure that they can have that in confidence. And I think many people in this industry are really keying off of that now. And so there is more of a focus on what's real and what's in the near term versus, hey, it's always futuristic, right? I think that previously, when we were in the mode of we had to convince people that they needed our stuff, versus now, they know they need it, and there isn't any need to convince them, oh, you really should consider this. It's really high on their list. And so for them, there's a more urgent focus on what can I install now or in the very near future. And that's helping bring the whole industry along.
Yeah, and I think not only that the exhibitors would have this, but I think the visitors as well are just kind of have a more critical eye on all this angle. What's really possible, when it's going to be shipped, how can it actually work, and etc. So I think there's both sides actually kind of more in agreement with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and I think that's true. So how do you take it then from as Catchbox? You're a solutions. I mean, I guess you both are, but I want to the right way to answer the question. You're a specific use case, but your use cases are growing. How do you do that from a product development point of view when you're sitting there going, what am I going to bring, when what we have is a mic that we're throwing around the room?
Yeah.
And it says don't kick it, but people like to kick it.
They do.
It is very inviting.
It is. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that vision, especially now? When you see a show like this, would you go back and say, okay, our industry has changed? How much do you open your eyes when you're walking the floor and go, okay?
Well, I mean, this is like a never-ending, it's a dilemma, centuries old or more than that. But it's it's always this trade-off between, do you wanna move somewhere completely new, or you wanna kind of build on the base you have? So, I mean, yeah, it's a tough one, but I think goes decision by decision, product by product.
Yeah, and I think just finding that, where we're at, where are the problems. We like to say that in education. And when we do our, we have a virtual conference, things like that, we always tell people, don't come in with your product PowerPoint. Right. Come in talking about the solutions. Yeah. And yes, we know your last slide is going to be, oh, by the way, here's the product that you want to order. But those are the kinds of things that, we want to have those conversations. And I think that I've seen that in this show. That just in general, your two companies specifically, but I think in general that's more the case.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So final question, and probably the most important one you want me to ask. How do people get a hold of your companies to buy stuff and get a hold of you all?
Crestron.com for us, and we're all on all the socials as well.
Yep. And yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Catchbox.com is where you get the information and the products. You can buy them, try them, all that stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys very much. This is quite a pleasure. Have safe travels home. Get some rest.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all next time. And again, hopefully everyone, you enjoyed this. This is a fantastic chance to kind of reminisce over this last 4 days, but there has been a real change in this industry. I've seen it. You can feel it. It's great to be back. It makes me excited about, obviously, ISE this next year. But, I mean, even Infocom, I think, is going to see a huge change because ISE proved that we can come back and that we can do all this. So thank you, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And again, like always, all the opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of any sponsors of the show or any respective institutions, but probably I would say the companies that are here would actually say that they do agree with their opinions. And if you didn't like these, there might be a better one next time. Take care, everybody. You can make sure you follow @HiredAV on all the socials. Take care.